Constitution, and as your assemblyman, he will be your voice. He'll never let you down, make him rejoice. Hallelujah, hallelujah. We finally had a man who hears your voice. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Tim O'Connor is the only choice. Right in, Tim O'Connor, Libertarian, for New York State Senate, Senate District 51.
All right, guys, it's November 22nd, 2020, and once again, I am popping off about politics. It's heading towards Thanksgiving. We've got some interesting stuff going on. Remember, guys, the likes, the comments, the shares, the questions, all those sorts of things keep me doing this and keep me going. And if I don't get any, that's fine, but we're going to keep rolling anyway. Guys, remember, success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It's courage to continue that counts, and that's why we're here tonight. Again, November 22nd, 2020, and I want to try something a little different than what I normally do. There's been a absolute blast, kind of interesting thing happening out in Erie County, New York. And so what I'm going to do, if this works, is I'm going to share this with you. And hopefully you guys can hear it. That guy right there is Dwayne Whitmer, the new Libertarian candidate for New York State Senate. Did very well.
This is private property. This is private property. It's private property. Listen, man, this is private property. They're not wanted here. So do your job. Well, no, your job is to remove people that are not wanted here. We're wanted here. They're not.
So, guys, what do you think? I mean, right there, you've got some of people trying to enforce the health code coming into a private meeting with private businessmen, having a discussion about what their next move is, what they should do next to fight the upcoming lockdown, guys. COVID's exploding all over the country again, and that's real, man. So let me play some more of it. She's showing her credentials.
Don't worry about my health. My health isn't your concern. Okay, well, then write me up. Okay, then take me to jail. Then take me to jail.
So they're explaining to the health officer in the sheriff's department, it's not the law. It is, in fact, an executive order. Guys, remember the likes, the comments, the shares. Like, if you got questions about this, don't be afraid to put them up there. So what I'm finding interesting, guys, is that this this part's great. This clip's making the Daily Wire. This clip has got over 1 million views on Twitter. She's trying to call her boss to see what she's supposed to do in this situation. I'm surprised she didn't start handing out citations, like tickets for something. These guys are all right, guys. What do you think? That is one of the most epic things to hit Facebook. And guys, it's real, right? You can't just write it off. You can't just dismiss it. I'm going to get rid of the screen share for a second and talk to you. Guys, I have sat through a couple of them. And guys, look, I feel bad for Cuomo. I really do, sort of. But the bottom line is here's the deal with him. He is an authoritarian that is like losing his mind just a little bit. He promised the whole state, guys, okay, that he was taking care of COVID. He promised it, okay? Guys who know data, guys who understand how viruses spread, people who know how diseases work, knew that the promises he was making were basically impossible to keep. And of course, now he wants to blame people like, that Erie County crew for misbehaving, for not doing their due diligence, for not wearing masks. And probably none of them are going to end up with COVID. And so that's the goal of government, right? They say one thing, like, here we are, guys, we have a rule, everybody's wearing masks. And then all of a sudden, if people push back against wearing masks, they can go, see, it's your fault, you're spreading COVID. And guys, I don't know about you, but I'm not convinced about that science or lack thereof. So I do laugh, but I also get a headache from them, John. I'm not even kidding. And thank you for being here tonight, brother. I appreciate it. Peter Eaple, how are you, my man? What's going on out in Arizona? You guys staying warm? Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Emmy, brother, I was gonna send an invite to you, and this was the only show I was able to do this week because I've been working up in Albany, out of town, staying overnight up there and stuff like that. Been very busy, but I thought of you often, and I think we're moving forward on discerning some appropriate libertarian action moving forward. Would that be correct? Let's go back to that screen share again and see if we can move this along. They keep right after those guys. Whoa. Okay. I'm getting that. It's gonna look at that. Oh, I'm sharing this one. Hang on. And guys, bear with me, right? This stuff is, the screen sharing thing is not that complicated, but it's also a little bit kind of complicated, and it's easy to do it wrong. There we go. Yes. So basically, guys, they have I love that people are actually standing up to these guys. And these guys are saying it's a protest. I love that, right? I love that. Can we have protests? Can everyday people just have protests? That we don't have to limit them to densely populated urban areas over major social unrest issues. We can stand against the man coming into our businesses and threatening to shut us down and threatening to write us tickets and executive orders that aren't exactly laws. We can do that. Yes. All right, brother. Cool. You did. Let's see it. I can see it. Ryan Bedford, what's up, brother? I'm working out your way actually this next couple of weeks. So we got to get together. Maybe you can teach me how to bowl. All right, guys. So that video is making the rounds, and it's an important event honestly in American history, because as we move forward, we're going to see more and more of that. I think that it's almost inevitable that people start stepping up and defending their businesses and their property and their rights to liberty. And guys, you know me, man. I'm a big fan of that stuff. I don't know if you guys heard that part. That played through my speakers. Did you guys hear that last part? Anyway, so guys, I also had another guy reach out to me, and he wanted to ask me if I would share some information. Guys, check this out, defythepower.com. It's a friend of mine. It's a regular that comes in on the shows. His name's John Morrissey. He wrote a very excellent blog right there. And I'm going to share that a little bit, and we could talk about that too. Uh-oh. Okay, there we go. Okay, I'm still here. All right, so guys, my apologies for the screen sharing stuff because I am not quite. I'll get better at it, but what in the world? There we go. Okay. All right, I'm back. So, guys, John Morrissey, regular at the show. He's a regular in Larry's show. He has a good time. He talks about liberty a lot. He's a Central Florida libertarian. So if you get a chance to check out my friend John's blog, please do so. And let's see if I can share. Let's see if I still have it. And again, guys, bear with me on the screen share thing. I promised myself I was going to get better at it, and that's going to take some effort. All right. Okay. So basically what John's going on, and he has other things. He has a number of things written up in here, but the one that he particularly was pointing me towards is Thanksgiving uprising. And we can think about like supporting our neighbors and making sure that we do business with our neighbors and our family and our friends. And I thought that this would be an appropriate way to introduce everyone to his blog and encourage you guys to go check it out, because when we've got people fighting for liberty, we've got to share that message. Like when you guys are coming in the lobby and making comments and, and we'd get joking around and we argue with each other a little bit and all that stuff. I think that that's an important piece of what we've got to do. And then we've got to do this outreach where we talk to other people. And how do we sell? One of the issues is how do we sell liberty, and how do we get more people interested in the notion that we're being, I don't want to say we're fighting oppression right now. I think that the government reaction to COVID has been, at the very least, I think, oppressive. Now, people would say, well, was that oppression justified or not? And certainly there's going to be a number of different issues on that, a number of different positions on that. I don't think there's a lot of different issues. Either we're being oppressed and it's appropriate, or we're being oppressed and it's inappropriate, right? Those are the only issues when it comes to talking about the government response to COVID. It's plain and simple oppression. Now, is it justified oppression or is it unjustified oppression? And that's the question. Vince Pryor, hey, congratulations on getting married. That's fantastic. Good luck to you with everything that you do. And now, are you going to law school now? I know you were thinking about heading into law school. Anyways, let me know about that. And I don't know if I'm going to run for another office, to be honest with you. I mean, I had my eye on the Senate race, and it really played out very well because I met a lot of great people, and I helped a lot of people get more politically active. And I think I encouraged certain activity that is going to be incredibly important in the future. And so do I maintain my status as what I would call an advocate, or a someone who's standing up for liberty and encouraging other people to stand up for liberty? Or do I run for another office? And if I want to run for another office, would I run for Senate again? And I think that the odds are is that if I was to run for another office, I would probably try to run for Senate again, because I think that what's going to happen is people are going to realize that we didn't make any real big changes here. What we did is maintain the same thing that we've already had, which, as we saw over the course of the last few decades, has destroyed upstate New York's economic situation. So that's the thing. Dems want control. COVID is an opportunity. Dems kill babies and elderly, and what they care about. Why do they care about you starving to death? They hate your businesses, churches, and freedom. Stand up or suffer a lot more. I think that's fair. I think some of that's fair. Ken brings a lot of energy. And guys, if you know Ken Williams, or if you want to be friends with him on Facebook, I suggest that, because Ken is a great guy. Now, Ken is a powerful advocate for liberty. And it does seem like what he's saying here, some of what he's saying here is perfectly on point true, right? They don't like your churches, and they're afraid of freedom. And so we do have to stand up, and we've got to work together to do that standing up, to make these things happen, to craft legislative initiatives. That's what Emmy and Rich Pertel and a couple other people whose names I don't want to mention until they want me to mention them are going to be working on over the course of the next few months. Some of it's going to be very anti-Cuomo. Some of it's going to be pro-Second Amendment. And guys, also about Dwayne Whitmer, big part of 2A NYS. which is also basically the grassroots movement. It's better than the NRA in protecting our gun rights. They actually take cases and defend people. So if you get a chance to participate in 2ANYS, Dwayne Whitmer's a founding member of that. He was also in that protest video, guys, standing up for our rights. The guy, us libertarians and a lot of my conservative friends, all about individual human rights. And that's the thing that we do not fight hard enough for. And you can see that COVID, guys, that has been got an absolute lever to interfere with the notion that we have individual human rights and that we're not just supposed to be subjected to the collective. And guys, that's what constantly is going on with this COVID thing. It's absolutely crazy. And yeah, guys, listen, I think we can talk Larry Sharpe into running again. I do not think I would be selected as his lieutenant governor, but I certainly would be all in to help out that campaign. And you guys know that. That means a lot. And with all the time that he shared with me and with all the tips that he's given me, with all the advice that he's given me, with all the conversations he's had on his webpage, he has done nothing but help spread the notion of liberty. And that's the bottom line. So if you guys can, some of you guys may or may not know who Larry Sharpe is. If you don't, just type in Larry Sharpe in the search bar. Go to Larry Sharpe Libertarian or go to Larry Sharpe The Sharpe Way, either one. Watch some of his shows every once in a while and see if what he says doesn't make at least as much sense as what I say. And one of the things about Larry and I, Larry's downstate guy, I'm an upstate guy. So there's two different patterns of communication when we're saying almost exactly the same things, or very similar concepts that we're both trying to work on. So even if we're not perfectly in sync, we're close enough to be in sync that we would both spread liberty throughout the state. And that's what this state needs, is it needs liberty, guys. I'm going to stop sharing that. Sorry about that. But again, John Morrissey, Defy the Power. He's a central chairman. I can't remember what county, but I think he's the chairman of the Libertarian Party down in Central Florida. Friend him up. Check out that blog at Defy the Power. And so, yeah, look, whatever Larry needs, if he wants me to be a part of an administration or if he wants help campaigning, and if I'm, I'll literally ask him what he thinks I should do. You know what I mean? Like what his biggest opinion is. Like, should I run for Senate again? Should I do this? Should I do that? We've got some legal challenges coming up to the ballot access that we've had, and we're going to have to fight a different way. But that's fine. I'm ready for the fight. Guys, I stayed out of politics, like directly involved in politics for far too long. I know that my ideas are sound. I know that I understand economics better than any of the guys that I hear talking about economics in the entire state. I'm not even joking about that, right? That sounds like a brag, okay? And maybe it is a little bit, but these guys have a problem. Like, they don't understand economics and they subject economics to virtue. And so because of that, us libertarians realize and us conservatives realize that we are hurting our neighbors by taking their money and not offering them quality of life that's promised through taxation. Shall not infringe. It comes up several times in the Constitution. It absolutely does. The right to peaceably assemble, the First Amendment and the Second Amendment. There's reasons, Brian Hoyt, and thank you for being here, man. I appreciate it. Just a happenstance chance. I was taking my kid to Denny's and I had the Larry Sharpe shirt on, and I had just hung out with Larry earlier that day. And I run into Brian. He's like, "Hey, I voted for that guy." And I'm like, "Hey." Anyways, it worked out to be a great friendship, and we're friends on Facebook. And he's showing up in the lobby, and I appreciate it. Yes, shall not infringe. There's a reason why the right to free speech and the right to protect yourself is number 1 and 2 in the Bill of Rights, guys. It's absolutely because those two things do more to protect individual liberty than anything else. Let's go with that. All right. So this is a great suggestion. And Ryan Bedford, you've had tons and tons of great suggestions throughout this rate, and your positive outlook and your constant encouragement has been an absolute asset to me. So yes, ask people what their concerns are instead of voicing yours. They know what our concerns are when we got a "don't tread on me" hat and we're hanging out, right? They know what our concerns are. And so that's a great way to communicate with people. Ask them what their concerns are. Let them speak. People like to be listened to. They like to be heard. And it's not just a game. And we're not just playing a game with them. We have answers to their problems. And so when they ask specific questions, we come up with specific solutions. Or, right? We point them in a direction where they can find someone who knows. Like, people reached out to me about disability problems during my race. And of course, guys, I had the hugest asset in the world on my side, and a guy that ran as a libertarian in New York's 52, Thomas Daniel Queter. Guys, he's a libertarian disability advocacy person. Like, he understands the ins and outs of the system, and he knows exactly how to make it better. So I had him as an asset, and that's the kind of thing, a solution-oriented guy running for Senate in New York State as a disability. It would make the systems better, and it would make them cheaper, and it would make them more effective for their community. So we have those solutions for practically everything I can think of. Yes, New York does need them. Yes. All right. And so Alice brings up a great question. How do we in upstate impeach Cuomo? All right, guys, I did research on it. You can depress yourself. You can go to Google. All right. And you can look up impeaching Governor Cuomo or impeaching a governor, how it's done in New York State. Okay. So the issue is that there's no real public referendum. Like, people cannot petition your representatives to bring issues to the floor of the assembly. All right. So we can't make a petition and bring it to our representatives that are supposed to represent us and say, we want this issue to be on the floor. They have to decide without necessarily our input. Like, they'll take phone calls from us. They'll listen to us. I'm not saying that. Okay. But we can't craft a petition saying we want Cuomo impeached, then have it tested on the assembly and then heard on the floor of the Senate. Okay. But so the process is somewhat similar to how we do it in the federal government. You have to have the assembly bring an article of impeachment against Governor Cuomo. And of course, the first thing they do is request an investigation. And what's going on in New York right now is that one of the Democrats actually has already requested an investigation of the whole nursing home incident. And so what that means basically is, now that the Democrat requested it, the Democrat could be in charge of it. And that means that what, guys? I mean, what does that mean? We have one party rule in New York State. Is there going to be a serious investigation of this situation? No. Okay. Probably not. Will it result in articles of impeachment being drawn up in the assembly? Also, probably not. So the answer, guys, and there is an answer. And again, I talked about it in my last show. There is an answer. The opportunity cost of voting. We're going to go right to the opportunity cost of voting. And I know some of you guys are going to hate this. And that's why I'm saying it now, because I want it to make you mad. Okay. I want it to bother you. All right. I want you guys to think about what I'm about to say. And it's really, really, really important, because it's indicative of who we are, because we will live our lives unafraid of a virus. Okay. We will take appropriate responsibility to protect our friends and family without the government forcing us to. We will. We all will. We all do. We would do that. That's not the issue. Okay. The issue is mail-in voting is now here to stay. All right. I'll give you guys a minute to think about that, maybe 20 seconds or something like that. Mail-in voting, guys, it's not going away. We're not walking back mail-in voting. All right. So opportunity cost to vote in upstate New York is very expensive. Kids can be, young men and women, okay, can be hours away from their polling place on election day, just for a job, traveling to do work, whatever, busy with their friends, whatever. They can be hours away from a polling place on election day. They're not going to make it in there, and they may want Cuomo gone just like the rest of us, but they're not making it in there to vote. So mail-in voting, guys, it's here to stay, period. Okay. This is a step, and maybe they change it to internet voting down the road, but mail-in voting is here to stay. Now, upstate New York, if we voted in large enough numbers, because we are a disinterested populace, okay, we are disinterested in politics, okay? Since we're disinterested in politics, those that got interested and did the mail-in voting were more successful this year, and they embraced mail-in voting. Now, moving forward, libertarians, conservatives, we have to embrace mail-in voting. And I know that burns a lot of people's butts, guys. I know it. Okay. I know, because we're brave and because we're hardy and because we know we would take care of ourselves. We want people to stand up and go vote. The issue is mail-in voting is here to stay. It's not going away. That's how that libertarians, conservatives, us third party, Sam's, Greens, all of us we have to embrace it. And So the goal in upstate New York to impeach Cuomo, the only way to impeach Cuomo, based on what I'm seeing right now, okay, is to embrace mail-in voting and get more people in upstate New York to vote. Now, I think when I was going through the Board of Elections paperwork, and guys, remember the likes, the comments, the shares, stuff like that. I was searching out the number of independent, non-party affiliated voters in Senate District 51. It was literally 1/3 of the electorate, 35% of all voters in Senate District 51 are registered as no party. That's how it was, like I said, on the order of 40,000 votes, 40,000 votes. And so the percentage number was on the total number of votes cast. So we could seriously reach out to them and have impact. And a lot of them don't even end up voting. So that's the issue. We need more people voting. We need to embrace mail-in voting. And that's the bottom line. Yeah, please keep shooting questions at me, because tonight, guys, I've been very busy with work. I don't have a ton of questions. I thought that Dwayne thing was very, very interesting. And again, like I said, I think we're going to see more of that. And I'm hoping to see more of that. And I'm willing to participate in things like that. So I do hope we see more of that. Let's see. Yeah. Would the person that fills Cuomo's shoes be easier to beat than Cuomo? Also, yes, right? But Cuomo already turned down a cabinet position. I do think on some level, guys like him, and you take a look at throughout New York's history, okay? We go to Joe Bruno, we go to Silver. I can't remember Silver's first name, okay? What happens is when they leave office, that's when they get prosecuted, right? So, and guys, this is no joke. Their behavior, Skelos, all of those guys, when they leave office, that they took Skelos out, but the rest of the guys, when they leave office, that's when they prosecute them. They won't prosecute them when they're in office because it's hard to get a conviction, and it's hard to get a meaningful conviction, and it's the will of the people that they're there. So people, their cronies, the people that they're rubbing elbows with, are incredibly reluctant to see them prosecuted, right? So Cuomo's not leaving New York, guys, because if he does, things like the nursing home disaster are going to follow him. Things like the Moreland Commission will all of a sudden become paramount to communication about his public persona. And guys, there's hundreds of them that have been pushed down in the news, overrun, and ignored. So all of those things will come bear fruit if he leaves office in New York State. And guys, I'm just talking about history. I don't know why it is. I'm not even trying to allege corruption, even though it looks very, very, very corrupt to me. Okay. But I'm just saying that's the way that it is. That's the way that it's been. That's the reality that we face in New York. Our corrupted politicians, or our politicians that eventually get charged with corruption, remain in office. When they retire or leave office is when they get prosecuted. I'm not making it up. You guys all know it. All right. So, yes, you're right. I got to see if he'll come back on, man. He was so cool. And his solution to the ongoing healthcare crisis is amazing, right? Guys, imagine this. Imagine this, if you will, okay? $100 a month. And guys, you check out your copays, you check out anything, you check out your spend downs, okay? You're going to spend more than $1,200 a year on going to your physician, okay? Because your physician is designed, hardwired to find something wrong with you that they're going to have to charge you money for. And plus, you can't go to your physician just for a cold. They're going to be like, go to Well Now. And then you're going to spend $300 for a Well Now visit, $500 for an emergency room visit. I mean, these things are real. Dr. Mark, $100 a month, $1,200 a year, general practitioner let's not say at your beck and call, but he's like, I'll remove moles. I will help you with, he'll help with drug addiction. He's certified in heroin and opioid use, right? Like how to help people break that cycle of heroin and opioid addiction. And so for $100 a month, and if you own a business and you want to provide your employees with an awesome health plan, he will offer you special rates, right? 2, 3, 4 people you want to sign up. I don't even know how low he'll go, but I know it's substantially lower. That's what he intimated. That's what he hinted at. And besides, guys, if you want to see basically what he's about, check out the video that he and I did. I'll ask him if he wants to come on again because it was a great conversation. And guys, he reached out to me and maybe said he voted for me. Of course, that's a private thing, so maybe he said he didn't. I don't know, but maybe he did. But he came from the Democrat Party. He may, in fact, register as a libertarian because he's a solution-oriented guy, and solution-oriented people end up looking at what we're doing and saying there's got to be a better way. And so he came up with a better way, and he's putting his practice and his life and his physician's license on the line to offer our community a better way. And it was an amazing conversation, and he's an amazing guy. And thank you for bringing him up. And we should bring him up every show. Yeah. I mean, okay. So I got a couple suggestions, and thank you for this question because I like this question because this gets libertarians in an uproar, and I'm a fence sitter on it, and you're gonna love it. I think you're gonna love my discussion of it, Vince, because I know you're a thinking guy, and I hopefully the issue with universal basic income, right, guys? And here we go. We talk about society and how do we solve things like the welfare cliff. Okay, people who are literally getting paid $30,000 a year to stay home, but all they're getting, right, is a place to live, some food on the table, and heat. Okay, so they get around $30,000 to take care of that stuff. Universal basic income, if wholly implemented on some level, guys, takes care of one thing there. It helps take the rough edges off the welfare cliff. Now, here's another thing, guys. We're sitting on a precipice. Guys, I don't care. I love working. I'm a hardworking guy. I enjoy it, okay? It stimulates me. It stimulates my body. It stimulates my mind, okay? But we're on the precipice of a technological revolution, and we have been for years. Now, one of the things that's holding it off, that's rushing it back. Guys, we don't need, and this is no offense, guys, soon, we don't need cashiers anymore, okay? We don't need toll collectors, guys. If you go on the New York State throughways right now, all the toll collectors in New York State, gone. They're gone. They're done. They don't have a job no more. Done, okay? So we don't need McDonald's people to take our orders. We don't need any of that. We need a computer interface. Beep, 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 boom, done. We don't need any of that. Universal basic income. All right, there's a bridge to the future that for technological advancement and completely efficient delivery of goods and services programmed by electronics. We can do it in the future here shortly. We could probably be doing it now if we push the envelope on it. We could probably, guys, and I hate to say this to my truck driver friends because they're all hardworking guys and they're heavily invested in who they are and what they've done. But the reality is that tomorrow we could be shuttling freight without a driver from in 80% of the trip from New York to California could be done without a driver. Okay, if you're bringing something from New York to California, from California to New York, 80% of it could be done without a driver. Trains are inefficient. Okay, trains, it takes weeks to load things on the trains. It takes weeks to load them off. You've got to order material from a train depot delivery spot months ahead of time to get it delivered to your business to impact your business months and months ahead of time. And it still gets delivered from the factory to the train, then from the train to your business by a tractor trailer. So those jobs aren't going away. A guy picks it up at XYZ train depot, delivers it to XYZ business. Those jobs aren't going away. But that long hauling truck driving stuff it could be going away very soon. So I'm going to challenge you guys to something. I read a story as part of 7 Deadly Sins of Science Fiction. It was a collection by, I believe, Isaac Asimov. That's not the right name. Anyways, Frederick Pohl wrote this short story, a vignette in the 7 Deadly Sins of Science Fiction. And so this, I think it was the sin of gluttony or the sin of avarice. I'm not sure. But anyways, it basically highlights this issue of this Midas plague, what's called the Midas plague. In other words, we have the opportunity to provide the world with so much. How do we dole it out? And their solution, until some genius got drunk one night and really mad about his life situation, changed it. Their situation was you had to, the law became you had to consume. Okay, so food stamps, things like that became, here's a consumption stamp. You have to consume 7 pairs of jeans in 30 days. You have to consume 40 pounds of steaks in 30 days. You have to consume 3 coffee makers and a toaster in 30 days. And if you didn't, you got more consumption stamps because you were being punished. It's a typical government solution if you think about it, right? Punish the people that are trying their hardest. That's typically what the government does. So in that vein of philosophy, when we had too much, you had to make the poor people and punish them by consuming more. So very interesting story. You should all check it out. It's a little bit about universal basic income and how that would be a better solution, how we do society does tend to create enough. Now, I'm not saying if I get in New York State Senate, I'm going to be advocating for universal basic income. Let's forget about that right now. There are things about it that are problematic, okay? Though, when we hit this transition, when we're realizing that we have short-sighted ourselves with efficient delivery of goods and services because the technological advancements available to us they're there, okay? They're there. Self-driving cars, self-driving trucks, they're there, okay? So we're waiting for them to be fully developed. Guys, they're fully developed. They're there. I'm not, you could get a Tesla and your cell phone can drive your car for you. So read that. We'll talk about this more because I'm not 100% against universal basic income. There is a libertarian, I don't know if it's a libertarian argument for it, but there's a welfare cliff argument for it. There's a allowing society to transition into a more efficient, more productive society and an easier society for all of us. Okay, so there's an argument there as well. But we're also broke. So modern monetary theory has already, like, we're at a couple different precipices. Like, one is technological advancement like we've never seen in the production of goods and services and delivery thereof. Okay. And you're right, Buff. There is, you can't walk it back. Guys, that's what I'm talking about. I'm sure he was talking about mail. And thank you for coming in from Twitter, brother. I appreciate that. That's a great comment. Thank you. It is hard to walk back. You don't walk it back. All right. Very rarely throughout history has anything been walked back without some sort of major revolution. Okay. So nothing gets walked back. Also, mail-in voting lowers the opportunity cost to vote for a kid that's traveling hours to go to work or wants to go hang out or is going out and hunting turkey that day. Period. If he had a week to mail in his vote and he was comfortable with mailing in his vote, guys, and we said to him, look, get your vote, mail it in. Guys, let's have a meeting. Let's start early voting. Let's start having our meetings then. Let's plan it out. And guys, I know it takes away a bit of our honor and our integrity where we're like, I will go and vote if it's 50 degrees below zero because I want my voice to be heard. And your vote is your voice, guys. I believe that. You know that. Okay. I absolutely believe that. So it's important that you do vote. Mail-in voting is cheaper. It's cheaper. It's a cheaper way of voting. So therefore, if it's cheaper economic opportunity cost wise, more people will vote if we embrace mail-in voting. And that includes libertarians and conservatives, guys. And I'm a conservatarian libertarian. I don't care. People get bent out of shape about that, but that's who I am. How do we, I don't know, man. So we're fighting this war on this local level and how this all plays out when we're complaining about top-down governance, guys. Every single person that serves in local government feels like they're answering to the next level and gladly answering to the next level. Instead of serving their communities, they have lost sight of the fact that they are serving their communities. And it's because they don't get paid enough. And every pay raise they get comes from higher up. Like Cuomo says, all right, guys, you're not paying your teachers enough. And the teachers are like, yeah, you're not. And so they start looking to Cuomo for answers. And superintendents are like, yeah, you're not paying us enough either. And Cuomo's like, you're right. You're not paying them enough either. So here's some money to pay them more. And now that goes into the school budget. And then when state aid gets cut, it's still going to be picked up by the local taxpayer. Mark my words. Okay. So that's how do we do it? We've got to beat them there somehow. We've got to find people in that group, New York Old Guard, New York 19 Old Guard, New Fire. Guys, that's what they're doing. They're a group of conservatives that are fed up with what they saw happen in New York 19. And they are working hard to get people who want to find people who want to run for office, as am I, guys. If you want to run for a local office, let me know. We can work together. We will work together with them. If they can help us, we're going to help them. They're going to help us. We're all going to work together. We're going to get people elected. And it's going to be under the guise of we're serving our communities. We're bringing our politics back local. And it's not a guise. It's the reality. That's what we're going to be trying to do. I agree. But we saw the big challenge, right? This year, we had great candidates. We had great people running, a number of them. And unfortunately, when it came down to the votes, and even with myself, I don't want to say I'm disappointed, but I did okay. I think if we scrape them all together, I got somewhere around 1,000 votes. And that's fine. That's a good starting point for not having any money, for not getting on the ballot through chicanery, state-sponsored chicanery. Guys, we're a two-party state. It's legislated. Guys, that's a law we should fight. Emmy, if you're still out there, that's a law we should fight. New York State is legislated a bipartisan system. So it's legal to, kick people off the ballot on minor technicalities, and it's nonsense. Okay. So that's something we should consider fighting. And you're right. Nothing will change until we elect more libertarians, or we convert some people that are there to libertarianism, or we threaten all of them enough, right? If we grow enough and we threaten all of them enough to say, look, you need to step back and start talking about liberty. You need to start talking about your local communities. You need to stop answering to Cuomo and start answering to us again. And guys, they want that job. That job's a great job. They make tons of money. Okay. I don't care. Like, they say they give themselves a raise and they're like, well, what would a CEO make? And it's like, you're not a CEO, man. You're a petty bureaucrat that's got a great job. And that's with all due respect to the guys that work hard in that, because I do know some of them do work hard, and I have a lot of respect for all of them, even though sometimes I think they're wrong. Does that make sense, guys? I have respect for people that run for office until they become so obviously bloatedly corrupted like Sheldon Silver. I have respect for them. I don't think any of our local guys, I don't think Akshar, and I don't think Salka, and probably the guy that beat me, Oberrocker, I don't think they're these corrupt, nonsense, evil people. I'm trying to think of a couple of the Democrats, but mostly around here is Republicans. I don't think they're corrupt, evil people. I don't think they're part of the in club. They do get a lot of money from insurance companies, though. I think that's kind of nonsense. Yes, it's not murder if you shoot a computer. No, why would it be? It's your property. Libertarians believe you can do whatever you want with your own property as long as you hurt no one else. Period. All right. Can I just let you know, as a former toll collector, the Thruway is no longer a safe place to be because toll collectors literally kept people safe. The computer cannot see a child's straw. That's an interesting point. We never really thought about that. I never really thought about that. And that's funny, Shelley, that I really never, with less people on the throughways, probably more dangerous situations. They just became more dangerous. How are they going to correct that? They're going to have probably more of an invasion of privacy. Wouldn't I rather have a human being looking at me without no memory of who I am than a computer taking pictures of me every 20 miles to make sure they're collecting money from me and then recording that? Yeah, I see what you're saying. We need help in yes, we all need help. Guilford, by the way, I used to go down to, my kid used to practice at Steve's garage. I don't know if you know where that is, but they had that Troy Spratley. He's going to be going to Oklahoma State. Yeah. Anyway, the Gladiator School of Wrestling. We had a bunch of kids in the garage practicing every day. What a great bunch of kids. What a great bunch of people. All the people I met down in Guilford. But thank you for being here, by the way, Alice. You've been in here a bunch of times, and I'm not sure if I ever thanked you, but I want to make sure I do. Little Lisa Steinberg was turned in by a toka as a child in fear. Yeah. See, that was a good point you made. In a way, but again, once it goes that way, we're not coming back. We're not. They're gone. Yes, exactly. Or until they prove themselves to be corrupt bozos, right? We do. And how do we do that? That's the question, right? We saw those guys at the beginning of the show standing up for their rights. And I think we all have to do that more. And I think the issue, guys, these businesses have licenses and they have rights to collect sales tax that the governor can just say, well, you can't collect sales tax anymore. Therefore, if you sell product and don't collect sales tax, you're a tax cheat. So by his own action, he can make them a tax cheat and crush their business. I would imagine that's how it works. Plus, you can hit them with fines. If you want to stay open, you pay $15,000. If you want to do this, pay $15,000. And you violated you had 11 people in your business when you were only supposed to have $10,000, $15,000. You can't, especially guys, especially hard hit, especially hanging over their heads. People that own bars that make their living, at least in part, off of selling alcohol. The state liquor authority can take their license, period. Don't like what they're doing, they take their license. And that's a problem. The state has too much power, and they use it too much. They do. They're supposed to. And what happens? They're not making enough money. They feel like they're volunteers, so they don't want to listen to you anymore. And then they give you that evil eye, like you're crazy. Like, I know, I've been there. I've been there complaining and asking for things and trying to explain to them taxes are too high. Hey, the property I bought for $16,000 should be assessed at $16,000. And they're like, that's not how it works. And I'm like, that's literally what the law says. Please. They're serving the budget. They're serving the budget that as demanded by New York State. They're serving the county. And it's like, guys, you're supposed to serve your communities. And how did they do that? And I'm not saying a lot of them do it, but tax assessors are notorious for serving budgets that they're supposed to keep the assessments high because somehow that is beneficial to the community. But it's only beneficial to the community in the amount of taxes collected, as far as I can say. Yes. I saw that one right. Hang on. Yeah, they're going to probably up that, right? If they got rid of 200 toll collectors, they could probably put 5 or 6 more they could put more troopers on. That probably means more speeding tickets. Yeah, all right. It's not as safe, and more speeding tickets, guys. You heard it here first. It's not very safe, and more speeding tickets. Yes, even Republicans, Democrats, whatever, they can they can borrow them, they can steal them. Honestly, I think I got this idea, guys. I tell you, just think this over. Bear with me, all right? We should get a group of people in a libertarian democratic outreach thing where we say we have people that volunteer for this job, because this is going to be a tough job, guys. But just bear with me, all right? And go into the Democratic Party and just be like, look, guys, gun control is economic bigotry, and we are not economic bigots. Therefore, no more gun control. How do you think that would go over? I'm a Democrat. I'm saying this to you, get in the middle of their party and help them make better decisions when it comes to the Second Amendment. I don't know. What do you think? Would it work? Could we sell that one? Licenses are extortion. And guys, we all saw it, right? They were going to make people who wanted to wash hair go to 500 hours worth of training on how to wash hair at the cost of $13,000, guys. These schools are not cheap, right? So to pay, and I'm sure they had the whole thing like they were going to give you state aid, and the person who proposed it owned cosmetology schools. It's just incredible. That's corruption, right? That person should not have gotten reelected, okay? I'm serious. Let's see. I bet you about Adam. I bet you did. Oh, I'm always worried I'm going to get zooked on Facebook. But guys, I saw him at one of his news conferences talking about shutting down schools in New York City, and how it's like, first we were in an orange zone, then we were in a red zone. And a reporter's like, well, are schools going to be open in New York City, or are they not going to be open in New York City? And guys, I'm going to say this. It took him 8 months now, but micro-targeting COVID clusters is an appropriate response. But we should have been doing that back in June, and we drove our friends and neighbors out of business. We chased people out of upstate New York. Imagine that. All right. And now we have worse COVID numbers than we ever had. We should have never shut down when he shut us down. We should have opened up sooner. And guys, the COVID experience is not going away. It's real. It's a real disease. We have to take care of ourselves. We have to take care of people that have it. And we do. We have to watch our behavior. If everyone in Maryland, New York has COVID, I need to stay home or stay away from home. If I'm already away from home and everybody gets it, I need to stay away from home for 2 weeks or a week. Okay. We need to take responsibility like that when it comes to COVID, and that's fine, okay? But closing down businesses, shutting down the economy, breaking the bank on an already bloated government was crazy, and we should have never done it. Not that way. All right. Good. Queter did a great job. I'm going to have him on the show. He's looking forward to that. He's got some other ideas what he wants to do. He's going to get right into I believe he's either helping us with this legislation product, or he's got another project he's working on his own. Yeah. Yeah. See that? I don't even know what FUKK means, Shelly. Yeah. I think mail-in, if we do mail-in right, and we get more people involved in watching the polls when they open up the mail-in ballots, I think that we can do it. It's a hard copy from someone's house to another person's house. Now that it does invite certain kinds of fraud. It does invite dead people voting, and we've got to fix that better, for real. But it's, guys, it's not going away, and I know that's frustrating for people. I know it. It's going around. Both my kids' schools are closed again. Milford closed back down. My daughter went to school for like 1 week and 3 days or something, and it closed back down. And my son decided to go to a different school, and his school closed down this past week. It's real, guys. If you got any more questions, I'm going to kind of wrap it up. If you have specific issues, especially pertaining to areas where I'm adroit, like the Second Amendment and things like that. If you have specific issues and you want to message me about legislation on my Facebook page at Tim451, or my private message on my Twitter page at what is that? At Tim for New York State Senate. Hang on, let me put that up there. I forgot it now. Yeah, at Tim for Senate. That's the easy way to reach me at Twitter. To reach me on Facebook, it's at Tim451. And guys, I'm not a candidate anymore, so I've got a few things changing, but I think I could keep Senate in my name without breaking the law. And then if you can, and this one is, if you can follow me on YouTubes, that would be helpful. Which is, if you type in New York State Senator, Tim for New York State Senators 51, my page comes up there. And then if I change the name of that, at least you'll be notified, which I will have to change the name of it, by the way, because I'm not running for Senate at the moment. But if you could like me there, then we have this kind of overlapping, protected way to communicate. And guys, I'm going to do my best to do more of these shows. And just the issue is that I've been busy and actually doing a pretty kind of epic project. I'm pretty happy to be a part of it. Although I have to stay in a hotel occasionally, and I have to drive an hour and a half to get to work when I don't stay in a hotel, or 2 hours. But anyways, guys, thank you all for being here tonight. I'm going to try to do more of these. I am going to do more of these as we move into the new year. I will get a regular schedule back. But right now, it's going to be a little hit or miss, and I'll try to, find us some guests. Emmy's going to come on. I promise them. And guys, you guys probably seen mine and Emmy's conversations. They go on for about 45 minutes. They get kind of epic. We could probably go on all night. Probably saw me and Queeder's conversations. We'll probably get zooked the next time we talk. I'm not even kidding. The guy's, he says stuff that I just love to hear. And anyways, guys, thank you all for being here tonight. I much, much appreciate it. Thank you for all the comments. Remember, the likes, the comments, the shares. That's one thing that helps us spread the message. Then we can all get together and have this fun, and I can run my mouth for an hour, and we can have a blast, man. Thank you all, and have a good night.